Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in this video we are going to take a close look at one of my passions, is the Logitech G25 racing wheel. It's an oldie, I picked it up secondhand because I'll review it here on the channel. Is it still worth your money in 2021? Welcome to the Wicked Gamer and Collector. Consider subscribing, hit the little bell, become one of the Wicked family. It's awesome that you're just tuning in. Nevertheless, let's take a close look at the G25 from Logitech. And I must say, these are one of the wheels that get me really started with racing games. I owned so many racing wheels, and let's say from the really cheap one from Mad Catz back in the day on the PlayStation 1 and 64, oh boy, what a day it was then. But nowadays this thing brings it to a next level, and even now in 2021 I think it's still a very good steering wheel. But there are just the things you know, and if you're not familiar to these products, let's give you a quick overview what kind of things you can expect from a racing wheel from Logitech. Let's take a close look at the steering wheel itself. It's already old, but as you can see, it has been used some years, but it still looks very nice. It got this very nice leather touch over the wheel itself. We're going to get two buttons with the G25. I'm always reminding me of the Fast and Furious with the NOS buttons. Nevertheless, we're having in the middle the Logitech logo. There are some minor dents in it, so you can see that it is used, but happy that it's still in good condition. Nevertheless, back we're going to get two RVS pedals where you can do the shifter, and I can say these shifters, I'm a big fan of them. They're positioned very well, and I think it is very comfortable this way. So when you have this very nice clickish feeling, take in consideration when you're going to get a very old steering wheel like the G25, you need to pay attention that these things are working, because sometimes you're going to get some problems. But the positioning is very well and you can reach them very easily. And what I really loved about the G25, it gives more like this premium feeling with these flippers. Okay, so as you can see over here, I just want to give you a quick look of the steering wheel, and they are using just high quality materials, and it still looks amazing. Still there's a little bit of a tear and a wear over here, but yeah, this is what you're going to get with a second hand, but it's still an overall in very good condition, and it tells a lot about the steering wheel in general. Okay, so next up, let's take a close look at the back. As you can see over here, I really like the design of it. Fun fact is that they still didn't change the design with the G27 and the G29 so far I know. And more giving more like a front of a car. Personally, I love this. On both sides we're going to get the nut that we can tighten up for getting the steering wheel on your desktop. Pretty cool in my opinion. I think I really like it. Nowadays, when you're going to get yourself a new Logitech G, let's say the 920 or even the latest models, we're not going to get the shifter. No, it was included in the old package, but not in the new one. So this cable goes into the steering wheel. Basically everything will be attached to the steering wheel at the bottom over here. You can do some, let's say, cable management, and I think it's pretty cool to see. And also they didn't change it out in a lot of models, so it's all more of the same. As you can see over here, you can switch out the pedals or the connector for the shifter. It's all the same, but it's going to be in cable line where everything has been attached. So if you're looking over here, you can see that if you want to attach the shifter to your desktop, it works very well. You have two ways, or better said two buttons like the steering wheel, and the third one, you really need the third one, otherwise it's going to be moving around. Next up, let's take a close look at the shifter itself, because what I think that is something a unique thing that they basically removed from the newer models. As you can see over here, we're having just the option to swap it over. Let's push it in. A little bit tricky. Alright. As you can see, now we're having more the option like shift up, shift down. So we're having more like the 6 gear with reverse, and we're having just the push shifter. I think it's pretty cool. The shifting option, I really like it. It gives a completely new dimension to the racing games, but I really need to get used to it. Simply because sometimes I miss shifting. So I really need to get used to the shift gear. Nevertheless, here we're having the 4 buttons we can configure in the game, D-pad for navigating, and of course the 4 buttons, when I say A, B, X, Y, so all the buttons we're going to need. The pedals, let's talk about the pedals, because when you're looking at them, you're looking at the older, newer models, there are not a lot of, let's say, differences. Maybe when you're looking inside there will be some differences, but in overall they're the same. The connector that goes into the steering wheel, the same like the shifter. Alright, so but let's take a close look at it, because first of all, it's just a gigantic beast, and I think it was pretty cool that we're having also a clutch. So if you want to give the simulation and the racing to the next level, the clutch is something you just need to have. And as you can see over here, 4 with RVS, beautiful, different kind of springs in it, give you a completely different racing simulator. I must say, what I do like about this Logitech racing wheel stuff is that we can also having some modification that you can buy online if you're not liking them. Another thing I find quite interesting is that the power supply that you're going to get with your Logitech racing wheels are not the typical 12 volt. This is a special 12 volt power supply, so when you're going to buy one, second hand, make sure the power supply is with it, otherwise by the side point you can use it. You need to buy a weird power supply. So another thing I find very interesting is that we're having a lot of options when it comes to modifying your G25 or G27, 29. There are so many ways you can play. You're having some different ways you can not only modify it but also improve it. So when it comes to, let's say you want to have a truck simulator and you don't like the shifter itself, you can completely basically remodel it and make it that it works perfectly for your personal needs. So I think that is very interesting to see that there isn't just a special place for modding with these old school and later on newer models. Alright, so let's boot it up. Everything is set up, the drivers have been downloaded for Windows 10 from the Logitech website. I am ready to go. And of course we need to check out if the steering wheel still works. Alright, so I needed to dig through my Steam list to check out which game has the best support. There is a wiki page for this, but I did notice there is a big difference between games. So this game is Project Cars, the first one, a game that I really started to like. Don't mind my gameplay, I am not a big racing genius, so I just was messing around with the steering wheel in this game. I'm more familiar to the racing arcade games, but nevertheless this game is, it's getting to me. I really like it, how it plays and how it reacts to the steering wheel. And even for a G25 that is especially even supported with this game, you can just know that, you can feel that this game is just perfect and it works like a charm. Alright, so in the next part I wanted to play with the shifter, and just going to be honest, it feels more like a wicked wiggle shifter, and I mean with this is more like it feels not like a real gearbox. And I did notice some modification on the AliExpress page. I don't know if this is going to be improving it, but in the end I think it's a fun way to play and a fun experience. I really love to play with the newer gear shifters just to see how those play.
Calculating route. In 200 yards, turn left.
And even with an oldie like the G25, it has a perfect support with the Forza Horizon number 4. One of my new favorite games. Nevertheless, it's pretty cool to see that this game and in combination with the G25 works flawlessly. And what I also noticed that the combination of the steering wheel, I can feel the force feedback changing when the speed is going up. Nevertheless, the force feedback is just working perfectly with this game. I was just messing around with it, just driving around, and to show you guys that it works perfectly.
Turn around when it is safe to do so.
Okay, so if you're thinking, should I buy a G25 in 2021? I think you can, but take in consideration these steering wheels are quite old, so you need to make sure the force feedback works and the flippers have no issues. Also, if you want to play on PC, a lot of great titles will support this steering wheel, and we're having Windows 10 compatibility, so if you can get this thing for cheap, I think it's worth it. Nevertheless, let me know in the comments, what is your steering wheel experience? If you want to see more, consider subscribing, hit the little bell, become one of the Wicked family. And I will see you in the next video.